Hi, welcome to our town. I'm Jill Hindley Lawrence, and today I'm here with Officer Michelle Palladini, and she is a Norfolk police officer in our town, and she's going to talk about a whole variety of things, but especially her self-defense program. Is that right? Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's so great. I've done a few programs. I've never had a member of the police department here,
Yeah.
so this is really cool. I guess I just wanted to start off with maybe, you know, your title and how long you've been in the police department here in Norfolk. Yeah.
Okay. I started working patrol back in 2004. I actually started my career in Franklin.
Oh, okay.
And I've been here in Norfolk for 2 years now.
Okay.
So I do general patrol duties from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. I'm the one out you see riding around in town in the car.
Yes, as people are coming home
yes,
from whatever
exactly.
they're doing. So, okay, so you started as patrol in 2004. So you've been at it 10 years.
Yeah, right out of college.
Oh, wow,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
And did you study this in college? Did you study law enforcement?
I did. I studied criminal justice at Stonehill in Easton.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
So you have a degree in criminal justice. That's great. And so 10 years and a couple years in,
a couple here in Norfolk.
In Norfolk, but you
Right.
came over from Franklin. Okay, that's
Yeah.
great. So before we get into your self-defense stuff, tell us like the highs and lows of the job, if that's okay.
Yeah, certainly. To start with the best parts of the job, it's interacting with people. This town's great because we're a small town. We're able to, have more one-on-one interactions with people as opposed to working in a city where, you're busy, your call volume's very, very high, and you don't get those personal interactions with people. So it's nice. It's a great town to work in. We're able to know all the business owners here in town. It's great, every day brings something different. So you can never say you're bored when you're at work, which is nice.
Bet. And you 3 p.m. to 11.
3 to 11.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Well, although I'm sure there's even crazier stuff after 11. But,
yeah, there is. And in low sizes, seeing people's struggles on a daily basis, we see a lot more than, people would like to even believe is, out there in terms of crime and trouble that people go through and things like that. So
I know. I'm sure that when people think small town, they think crime free, right? Or along those lines, low crime. But there's a lot of people that have their own personal struggles, and you guys see that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Before we started, we were chatting, and you had said you come from, this is a family.
Family business.
It's a family business, right. So would you tell us about that?
Sure. My father's been a state trooper for as long as, I've been alive. And he did a lot of different types of things with the state police. He was very involved in the Whitey Bulger case.
Oh, he was?
Yeah. So I kind of grew up with him being my idol. I always wanted to do exactly what he did. I'd put on his, trooper boots when I was 3 years old, and, I loved it. I wanted to be just like him. So, and, here I am today.
So cool. If we were like a national show, we could flash a picture of you.
Exactly. He sets the bar pretty high, though. He's a great guy. He's just... I only hope I can be as good as he is.
Yeah.
So,
Do you have aspirations to be in the state trooper?
No, not at this time. I've made a home here, and we live nearby in Franklin. My daughter's young; she's 4. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're happy.
I'm gonna stay around.
Oh, good.
This is my home. So.
Good. Well, we're glad. It's when I met you and I said I hadn't seen you around, and I guess it's partly because of maybe I'm always home at 11.
Yeah.
No. So your dad put in 30 years or more on the force and the state trooper. Okay.
Yeah,
So interesting. Anyone else? Any siblings or anything that took up law enforcement?
Nope.
No. Okay. So you're carrying the torch.
Yes.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, we asked you to do a show specifically because of your training that you've had and that you're kind of bringing into the community about R.A.D. So tell us, it's rape. Aggression defense, right? R.A.D. Okay. So tell us a little bit, I guess, first about the general part of the program. Like it sounds like it's across the U.S.
It is.
And you police officers get trained in this, and do other people get trained, and sort of how does that go?
Yeah, civilians can become trained in R.A.D. and they can assist. There are some private companies that will put on their own R.A.D. programs, karate studios and things like that. So the average person can go and get R.A.D. certified to teach the class. but typically it's been a police program from its inception.
Okay.
So you'll be able to go on the R.A.D website and look up different police departments and see who offers it in the area.
Oh, okay.
So
right on. And do you know the website off the top of your head?
It's radsystems.org.
.org.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not for profit. It sounds like
Correct.
if it's org. And so is it kind of like does it cover all self-defense? I noticed that it wasn't just for women or anything. It's for all people. But is it like a niche of self-defense, or is it sort of just the self-defense training that makes sense for police officers?
Right, yeah, this is for the average everyday person. It started off with R.A.D for Women, which is the program that I'm certified in. And there's also, as you probably saw, R.A.D for Men, R.A.D for seniors, R.A.D for kids.
Yeah, children.
So it's great. It's kind of taken on a life of its own, because I think people are realizing that personal protection is something that, you know, is needed in today's society. Yeah. So the women's program that I teach, that's solely what I've been teaching since the beginning. And it's a very basic program. It's a basic knowledge of self-defense that anyone can do. So my class that I'm in now, I have my youngest student is 18, and they go all the way up to 76.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Oh, so cool. And you're focusing on women, what the R.A.D for Women. Okay.
Correct.
So I did see that. So I have a ton of questions because I did go to the website.
Certainly.
So right now, the program is running, and tell us now a little details about where and how often it meets, because there will be another one coming up, hopefully at the beginning of the summer.
Right.
Okay.
The program is 12 hours in length, which, you know, seems daunting. You know, it's tough for people to fit this into their schedule, but I think the program is invaluable. And the women that have been coming, I have a class of 22 women right now, and they've faithfully been coming. We're coming up on our third class this coming week, and they seem to be enjoying it. They can correct me if I'm wrong, but they all seem to be enjoying it. They're learning a lot. We're having a great time, and it's something that we're able to offer to our community that's, you know, like I said, it's invaluable. It's not every day we get to be interacting with people in our community and bringing something, you know, this much importance.
Right, and teaching something new that people are excited to learn.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, because I can see that it's empowering. I bet it's empowering for you, and it's empowering for them.
Absolutely.
To learn.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, I wish we could do some
demonstrations.
Well, you can
take the next class, and
well, I might.
We can do a follow-up.
Yeah, that'd be good. So you have 22. Is that your max usually, or about?
Give or take. It depends on the space I have and the amount of help. I have to recruit a lot of help for the class. So I have an officer from Rentham that's assisting me with this class.
Okay.
And I'm hoping to do a little bit of fundraising. I was able to get a couple of grants, which is helpful.
Oh, good.
And you know, sending another officer to training and buying more equipment. So it's a work in progress, but it's been very successful thus far. Yeah,
and you've basically gotten R.A.D off the ground in Norfolk.
Yes.
It's been your thing. Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's a great mark already. You know, you've only been here 2 years.
Yeah.
That's really great.
Yeah, it's a great program, so we're happy to be offering it now.
Right. So, well, I'm sure the website will pop up, you know, at the end of the program, so people can go to radsystems.org. But where do you meet? I guess, like, just what's the space that you usually use, and just so if people want to take it, they can picture it. And do you meet in like 2-hour blocks usually, or something?
3-hour blocks.
3-hour blocks. Okay.
And it depends on the size of the class. We typically run the full 3 hours. If it's a smaller class, we might get done a little bit early, but it is a 12-hour commitment to the program.
Okay.
I try and spread it out. So the current session that we're in, I'm doing 4 Mondays. So it's Monday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.
All right.
We're doing it at the Olive Day School.
Oh, okay.
Which they've graciously let us use, which is great. So we use the classroom for the first class, because the first class is, I have a PowerPoint. We talk a lot about personal protection, ways to keep yourself safe, ways to keep your home safe, ways to be safe while you're out walking, jogging. So we talk a lot about personal protection, because that's 90% of self-defense is the education.
Is being prepared?
Correct.
All right, personal protection, right? Or making smart decisions.
Exactly. You know, and you know, a lot of it's seems basic and self-explanatory, but you wouldn't believe at the end of the class people will come up to me and say, I never thought of that, you know. Like that's a great idea. I never thought of doing that, or I didn't realize how unsafe this was that I've been doing.
Right.
So
Oh wow, that's I guess, I mean, coming from someone who does run a little bit, I've probably put myself in, you know, because I run alone sometimes. So it's interesting. Well, I would love to take it, so I'll have talk to you about that or
Yeah.
keep my eyes open.
Sure.
So so you're focused on the women, the program for women, and do you hope that you'll give it expand and would you have classes that would be different sessions, I guess, for different ages?
Correct. I've had the senior center has requested a class. A couple women there wanted to get a class going, so I'm going to do a class at the senior center. It looks like it's going to be in September, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's great news.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're already working with them.
Right. I have about 15 women that are currently interested in taking the class. So
great.
I did a class last year, self-defense. It was more of a self-defense seminar. We didn't get into any of the maneuvers, the punches and kicks, and but they requested it. They wanted to do the hands-on, and it's great. It's great to hear that they're taking, you know, their lives in self-defense seriously.
Right.
So.
Wow. So you already have 15 interested. I mean, that would be, I think about that, and I think about my own mom. Like, yeah, that would be really great if she could learn some of that.
Yeah.
Do you, what was I going to ask you about I know. The seniors, is it a little bit different? Like, how do you tweak it for that? That's what I was going to ask you, the different ages. Yeah.
Yeah, I tailor it towards the needs of seniors because they grew up in a different generation, you know, than we did. So it's a lot about, you know, you don't have to be polite to everybody. That's the biggest thing. You know, somebody comes to your door and you have a 80-year-old woman who grew up that, you know, you're polite to people, you know, you're welcoming. And I tell them, you know, you don't have to open that door for a stranger, you know, but it goes against everything they've been taught because they grew up in a different era.
The hospitality, you know, okay.
Yeah.
So that's some of the education that you do right from the get-go, the first class. Okay. Don't open the door to strangers.
Right. We talk about scams. We talk about, there's a lot of things out there that unfortunately target the elderly.
Right.
A lot of criminals will target the elderly. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about house breaks, you know, how to keep your house safe. And I have to say, though, most elderly lock their doors. It's more the younger generation that doesn't.
I know,
so
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, I think we all are at some points.
Okay. What is the cost of the program?
It's a $10, it's just a nominal fee donation towards the program.
Okay.
I'd ultimately love to offer it at no charge, but right now, while we're trying to get things rolling, I'm requesting a $10 donation, but if somebody can't afford it, I would never turn anyone away for the class. So.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so that's a pretty, that's a nice price, $10. So, you know, I guess it just keeps you like some administrative stuff, right?
Right, we have to print manuals, you know, it's a pretty thick manual that we print. You know, you have to buy, so kind of a little bit about the program. After the first class, the second and third class, we actually practice self-defense maneuvers.
Okay.
So we have the women get into a circle, they learn how to punch, kick, they learn how to get out of certain types of holds. It's really empowering, and a lot of women are really surprised at how strong they actually are. And it's a lot about, you know, verbalization, being able to scream and yell, you know, and knowing you can do something. It's not turning women into black belts in karate, you know, in a 12-hour session.
Right, of course.
But it's teaching women how to do something because our natural instinct as women is to freeze. Most women have never thrown a punch in their life, so it's practicing with pads in a safe area.
Wow.
This type of stuff. And then the fourth class, we actually put them in a simulation. So we have officers get all suited up in pads, and they actually get to fight off, you know, an attacker. We put them in real life situations.
Wow, so that's the class, and you graduate.
Yes, that's the climax.
Okay.
The last class. We videotape it, we play it back at the end. You know, we'll usually have food, the women get to watch the video, and most of them are very surprised at how well they did.
Right.
Most of them can't believe that they were able to, you know, fight off a 6-foot, you know, strong police officer. And so it's very empowering.
Wow, that's really great. I saw on the website the suits, you know, which was, and so those are the suits that you get trained with those? Is that as part of being a R.A.D? Yeah, doing the R.A.D. So there is basically a suit that you wear in simulation to, so that when you're teaching your clients, or, you know, to kick and punch. So tell me, so you got trained. I guess I want to hear a little about that too before we circle back.
Sure. Yeah, it was very intensive training. I really didn't know much about the program going into it. It's 3 10-hour days, long days. I got trained out in Natick.
Okay.
I got trained, I want to say, it was roughly 3 years ago now. And, you know, long days, it's very intensive. You're learning everything there is to know about teaching people about protection, because, you know, we live this every day, you know, as police officers. We know how to protect ourselves. We know what's safe and unsafe. we see this. We get a lot of training just in our own, police profession about, defensive tactics.
Yeah,
but
because you have to always be on guard, kind of, if you're, depending on what you're doing.
Exactly. So it's kind of, we're almost born with it, it's comes second nature to us. But for the average person, how do you instruct the average person that has no self-defense skills, to be able to protect themselves? And that's what the class is designed for. So it's, like I said, it's a 30-hour class. In addition to that, you have to go out and you have to teach some classes and you have to apprentice under somebody. And so it was a process. And, after, we actually go through the simulation ourselves, too, when we're in the class.
Oh, you do?
And, yeah.
Cool. So
and I have to say, it was, very intimidating, going in front of a group of your peers and having to, perform these maneuvers. And it was different. It was different from police trainings. But at the end, it was really empowering to see how, when we're going to be teaching this to women in our communities, how, the average woman is going to feel coming out of this and knowing that they were able to do what they were able to do.
Right.
So.
Oh, that's really neat. Okay, so you did yours, then you apprenticed a few, and then you're good. So now you're the person. You are the certified person on.
Correct.
Yeah,
in
Norfolk Police. All right.
So we're hoping to have a couple other officers be helping out. But like I said, R.A.D is it's a big family, if you want to call it that. Yeah. I have several friends in the profession that do the R.A.D program in their own communities, and everybody puts a little different spin on it. They teach, maybe a little bit differently. Their program might be different from another. It all has the basic nuts and bolts of the R.A.D program, but there's a lot you can do with it. And I have a lot of ideas, too, about getting it into the schools. And
yeah, that was going to be my next question.
Okay, perfect segue.
Yeah, it is. So so you haven't done anything yet, right, in the schools, in the Norfolk schools. But what would you like, what would it look like, or, if you did do something, or even just one day?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, my vision immediately is to have something for the high school, for the girls we have in not only this town, but the entire KP district that are going off to college.
Oh, yeah,
because the sexual assaults in colleges, we all see the news, they're on the rise. And it's about letting these, women that are going off to college know that, you don't have to say yes, you can say no.
Very
loud,
very loudly.
Very loud no, and it's also, a big part of it is about responsible drinking, when they get to that drinking age, you go off to college and it's about making smart decisions, being careful, being with a buddy. That's why we're seeing a, big spike in sexual assaults on colleges. So I'd love to have something at the high school to teach, these women going off to school that, you can protect yourself. You know?
Yeah, and that's such a good point, and I can see that a lot of it is you're making smart choices, as they're going, it's because hopefully most of them will never be in a situation where they have to use. I guess that's your point about the whole program, is that we won't be in a situation where we have to use the training, the punches and the kicks.
Exactly.
It's making the choice ahead of time.
That's just it. You hit the nail on the head. That's what, the basic premise of the class is knowing how to protect yourself and knowing what situations not to get yourself into.
Right.
And a lot of people don't have that basic knowledge. It's stuff that they're not taught in schools. They're taught a little bit, but, we spend a lot of time talking about all sorts of different things, but how about keeping yourself safe and, knowing when a bad situation is. So.
Right. So, I wanted to ask you a little bit about people who are out running, kind of talk about that for a minute. This is great because I think karate, I know karate is, and other martial arts are so popular for kids now, and it's really, I'm sure, it's just the numbers have been going up and up, and I know they have karate at HOD.
Yes.
And so I know a lot of kids involved, all the way from, I think, kindergarten up to 5th or 6th grade. So that's really great, and I know that's a little different, right? It's not. It's a different. It's a form of. It's a sport. It's a form of martial arts, but it is nice that some kids are taking that, because I'm sure it teaches you a lot about your body when you take, karate or another type of martial art. But jumping over to, whether you're out for walking, a lot of people are going to start doing that when the weather's good. Walking or running, jogging. What my instinct, if I feel, if my alerts go up, is to basically would be to move away, like run, sprint would be my. You said that women's first, a lot of times their instinct is to freeze.
Yes.
If they are in that situation. I think mine would be to sprint. What do you tell? What is in the first class that you do with the regular women, the demographic of just the adult women? What do you tell them to do about being out on their own like that, walking, running? What's one of the main the things?
There's a lot you can do, and I think one of the things you mentioned was that feeling you get that we call women's intuition.
Right.
Listen to that intuition.
Yeah.
If something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't.
Yeah.
There's a great book called The Gift of Fear, and the author, he goes into all everything surrounding that concept about intuition, and we're no different than any other animal in the sense that we can sense fear,
danger,
right?
Right.
And it can be something as simple as when I was in college, I had an internship in Boston, and I had to park my car in a parking garage, and I always got that feeling walking to my car from the building through the parking garage, and nothing ever happened, but I had that feeling that I'm a woman, alone in a parking garage. College, it was probably 110 pounds, small person.
Right.
I had no self-defense skills at all. And so I got that feeling. And so we have to listen to those feelings.
Right.
Biggest thing, too, is being in a populated area.
Yeah.
And I know, unfortunately, we live in this beautiful town that has these wonderful, streets with rolling hills
Country
and
roads,
fields. And, if you can, you want to be, in an open area.
Right.
I see people running, at dusk. I see people running at night.
Right, yeah.
My personal opinion is it's not as safe, but people do what they have to do.
Yeah.
With the introduction of technology nowadays, it's great because everybody has GPS on their cell phone.
Right.
God forbid the worst were to happen,
Yeah.
You can be easily located through
yeah.
your cell phone.
Right.
And to that point, there's apps out there that you can download that if you go out for a run and it usually takes you a half hour.
Yeah.
If you don't click off that app in a half hour's time, it'll actually alert and call like 5 people on your call list.
Oh, really?
And it will say, Jill hasn't come back from her run yet.
Yeah.
And then they can try and get a hold of you, alert the authorities, because, seconds and minutes matter if someone were to be abducted.
Right.
So technology, has come so far that it's helpful.
Yeah, the GPS stuff, it really is. I think now we'll be parenting, and you've got a little one, and we'll be parenting where they will always have a cell phone, right? I mean, mine don't quite yet, but they will, and so that does, can you imagine like not having that? Which is what our parents did, right?
I know.
mean, you just have to have, I don't know how they handled it, but I guess they didn't know better.
Right.
Do you know the name of the app that does do that, or no?
I don't. There's several out there, and they
several
change.
versions.
They change rapidly.
Okay. All right, no, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think. This was great. I mean, so you have an ongoing session right now that you're doing 4 Mondays, and then that will wrap up, and then you're trying to organize the next one.
Correct.
And is it open? I know to Norfolk residents or anyone, or how do you?
Right. I gave
organize
Norfolk residents preference for this particular session, and I think 99% of this class is Norfolk, since it is a Norfolk program.
Right.
However, I am partnering with Rentham, just like our schools, we're a community, whether we're Norfolk, Rentham, Plainville. So we will likely share resources and, open it up.
Okay.
We have a lot of people in town. I've had, women that work in town, that don't live in town, but work in town, take the class. A lot of business owners in town have taken it. So,
good. It sounds great. So I love that they're, that really learning self-defense, not just the precautionary information, but just the actual moves and just having that knowledge and like you said about instincts and you're right, it is human nature to be intuitive about danger, but when you have this knowledge and skills that you teach, it's such then you feel like, okay, I'm ready, I can hopefully handle what comes at me. So, well, that's great. I think. Oh, and then the senior center, and hopefully a lot of the seniors, are able to watch our town, this show. So that will look like maybe September.
Correct.
You'll have that. Okay. And how many will that be open to? How many people? About 20 or
About
so.
20.
Yeah. And will you do it right there?
I'm hoping to.
Okay.
We use the big space downstairs.
Yeah.
So.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, anything else you want to add?
I
can think of?
think we've covered it. If anyone has any questions, though, they can reach me. My email is mpalladini@virtualnorfolk.org. They can call the station and ask for me.
Right.
If anyone has ideas for the next class, if they'd rather see it on a weekend as opposed to a weeknight,
Monday night,
I'd be open to that. So if
Okay.
anyone wants to contact me, I'm open to suggestions. So.
Yeah. Oh, it's just great. I'm so glad. And maybe we'll do a follow-up. So if I take the class, maybe I'll try to take the one, either the next one or the one after.
You can show everyone what you learned.
Yeah, you know. I want to wear the suit.
Yeah, see?
If you go on the website, you get to see this suit, and it's like, it's a little, it's intense. Yeah, that's the perfect word. It is intense looking. So anyway, all right. So Officer Michelle Palladini, it was really great to talk to you. We're so glad to have you on our police force.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and to your passing on, you know, this skill and knowledge to the women of town, and hopefully, you know, seniors and beyond, to our kids too. So it's really important work, and thank you for doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great. Okay. Well, thanks for watching Our Town. I'm Jill Lawrence. Have a great day.